My route to becoming an artist was a little bit circuitous because I started off by studying modern history. I became enthralled when I was studying history by the debate between whether one looked at history as a series of structural phenomena or whether you looked at it as a series of very human events. I liked history a lot for both those reasons, but I found myself increasingly captivated by the physicality of history, how, when you thought about it, these things were real events that people went through. One of the reasons I actually decided not to continue in history, but to shift over to what I always did privately, which was to draw and make little sculptures and stuff. So, long story short, I ended up switching over to art. Went to OCAD, well, OCA of course, at that time. Studied sculpture. I think it was probably 68 to 71.
I think if I look back on it, I mean, I was aware of Ian Carr Harris's work probably since the time I was a student. There's some artists that change constantly and it appears inconsistent. And Ian the work has changed, but it's remained very consistent within his interests and his vocabulary, and so that to me it's all Ian Carr Harris work, although it's not repetitious. Text and history and how we look at things, how we interact with those objects.
Currently, I really teach, apart from thesis and the visual language, I really only teach a course called Doubt and Paradox, which is kind of a companion course to the thesis group. It gives them a chance to think in terms of a particular problematic doubt and paradox when thinking about their thesis work. So, this year I donated Australia. I hope it flies as well. These are wonderful sort of riffs on language. Handwriting is really important to me. What they call cursive these days, but I grew up with handwriting. And I think that the wonderful thing about handwriting is it's almost like dancing on the page. It's not like printing, which is, you know, just kind of, I don't know, leaden in my view. But handwriting has this marvelous sort of dancing rhythm that appears on the page. So, so I see these works, these handwriting works, as a form of dancing. So, you know, being an artist, I think, is a really interesting experience, whether you end up being a gallery artist like myself or not, because it teaches you, I think, that you have your own skills and ability to fall back on, that you have something of value. That's a famous phrase, but you have something of value, and nobody can gainsay it. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can say you don't have it. You do. You learn to become very resourceful and to realize that you just have to persevere, and you have something that you can persevere with. And I think that that's it's a kind of foundation that one has, and I think it's something that we encourage the students to realize that they have, that in the world all sorts of stuff happens, and most of it isn't very interesting, or it's not very pleasant sometimes, but you always have this to hold on to.